This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
Jesus, man, this thing. All right. What's going on, freaks? Yeah, just looks like there's a lot of new names in here. Not sure where everybody else is, but it's good to see the new names. Still I feel about the same as I did yesterday. You know, maybe slightly worse, but not way. You know, just kind of this weird situation. I wish it would just go away. I'm sick of it. Yeah, everything's great. But I mean, I say this every single night, but like the last few nights, it seems like I don't know what the deal is, but like today was pretty good on the. Yeah, it was half of the day before on the live stream, but that's cool and everything. But on the nightly stream, which we always do, it's been really horrific on the super chats and so forth. And I'm doing the same sort of shows that we do. So I'm not really sure what the, is there something different about the shows, or is it because of the show during the day, or what's going on? Because we know on this channel, it's a big deal. You know, I make an income too, but at the same time, we bring in, we've given $144,000 away too, and I'd like to keep doing that, but, you know, I don't know if it's different on the show or what's going on, but hey, thanks. I love grits. Who's that really? It must have been somebody from the live stream earlier who changed their name, but we won't know who that is. Yeah, well, I do, Danielle, every single day. And when it doesn't work out, it's like, wow, what the hell happened? You know? Yeah, what the hell did I do? I'm just doing the show. Let's see. Also, I sent out all 28 of the notebooks. I stayed up pretty late doing that last night with the... so I sent out the notebook, you know, the one that has blue on the front, this one, like this. All right? So after I sent it out, that one has a little, this other foot stomp that I put on there. But after I sent it out, a few of them out, like packaged about 8 of them, I thought, let me see what it looks like when you put the paw print on the front of the, put it on the notebook too. So some of you are going to get the ones with the no paw prints on the front. They all have them on inside, but I think they look better. So, you know, this is what the version looks like. Hold on, you guys see it over here. With the paw prints on them, right? So, but there's people who are going to get it with just this because I didn't think of it. You know, it wasn't something that I even was going to do until later. What are you talking about, this account? They wouldn't show autopsy photos in the Daybell case. Thanks, your gypsy. I'm not sure what you're even talking about, to be honest with you. Let's see. No, the trial is doing okay on the Letitia Stout. You know, we get 300 people watching, and you know, it's cool. Thank you, your gypsy. So anyways, do you guys think that's pretty cool? So if you want one of these, you send in a... Right, well, we showed those images on the first video, but it's for adults only. I'm not going to cow down to the trigger warnings and all that bullshit. The video is going to stay up. It's for adults 18 and over. It's really what was shown at the trial. If you want to see it, you can see it. If you don't, you don't. That's it, right? I mean, if you can't, like, you know, getting angry. How dare you showing what they showed at trial? I mean, what the hell are you talking about? Be an adult and be able to watch something to see the horror of the crazy people out there. You know, that's the thing, is I think everybody should be forced to see those pictures. Because once you see those pictures, you realize the monsters are out there, and you want to do something about it. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, I remember when ISIS was going around, and there was these horrendous videos that they made killing Americans and so forth, and I saw them all. And that's why I had to resolve when I would think, my God, you guys, these people, other people are like, you know, because they never saw the freaking videos, okay? Had you seen them, you would have changed your mind, okay? Like, people are just, yeah, who knows? Yeah, whatever, man. I got other stuff to do. I mean, some of those things are really important. And I can't stand when the news says, well, I've seen these, and I don't think you should see it, so we're not going to show you. Well, how come you saw it? Are you better somehow? Your brain is more capable? I mean, what the hell? What the hell are you doing? You know, if there's news out there, then show people the news, no matter what it is. That's exactly what I think. Now, sometimes if it's like a kid's body found in the woods or something, you know, you don't need to see it, right? It's just, but this is a trial, and it was an autopsy photos that were actually shown on the screen as part of the trial. So what do you do with that? Yeah, I don't like when the media tries to tell us that we're not capable. I think there's a lot of YouTubers like that too, that tell you, oh, here's a warning, everybody. Oh God, ooh, watch out, everybody. You're so childish that you won't be able to deal with it. Oh, here we go. Oh. But here's the thing, everybody. If you need a trigger warning on a YouTube true crime show, you shouldn't be anywhere near true crime. And that is the truth, everybody. Put a 1 if you think that's the truth. Why do you think you should get a trigger warning on a true crime channel when you shouldn't be watching it if you need one? Do you understand that? It's crazy. And then people go, you're not making a safe place for other people that ever... What do you mean? You shouldn't be watching true crime. If you need a trigger warning, get the hell out and go watch, you know, some sort of, hell, my Blue... I'll make the Blue and Chloe channel. You can check out the dogs resting peacefully all day long and be really happy. You know? So I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but I really feel like this, you know? I can't stand all the stuff that's going on. The just PC bullcrap. The world's just turning into this or United States actually is turning into really weak, just embarrassing almost. And man, I tell you what, China and those guys, they're licking their chops right now. I can tell you that. Just watch out. And that being said, if you guys would like to help support the channel, that would be fantastic. We're now going to get on to the regularly scheduled program. Let's see. I'm not sure what I was going to do first. Oh yeah, let's just do the Coley McCraney. So here it is. Here it is, everybody. Yes,
Breaking news right now. We've just learned the verdict in the Coley McCraney murder trial. Our team is live outside of the courthouse where there is mixed reaction from McCraney's family and the families of J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hollett. Let's go now to News 4's Ken Curtis. He's live in Ozark.
I told you, only dumb people would think he was innocent. And I was nervous because the people in Ozark, Alabama are conspiracy-minded and don't trust the police. So this is pretty amazing.
That verdict. Ken, what is the verdict and what happens next?
Well, Kinsley, the verdict is guilty on all counts. Jurors finding Coley McCraney intentionally and willfully killed two Dothan teens, 17-year-olds J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hollett in 1999.
Well, we don't know, Dan.
In an emotional trial with conflicting testimony, jurors did decide in the end that DNA evidence against McCraney, about the only evidence that prosecutors had, was enough to find him guilty. After reading the verdict, which came from the foreman of the jury,
maybe he's a serial killer.
Individually polled, Judge William Fillmore asking each one is guilty. Your verdict, and each of the 12 jurors said absolutely.
I'd like to see what his reaction was. Was he shocked? I bet if he wasn't, then there's no doubt.
Yes. You mentioned, Kinsley, the emotions, and I saw some of them in the courtroom when this verdict came in barely more than 15 minutes ago. Certainly on the faces of the victims' families, I observed a sigh of relief. 24 years of living this case, now at least nearing being over. There's still a little bit more to be done, but this case dates back to July 31st, August 31st, that weekend back in '99. And going through all of this, you saw that relief. As far as McCraney's family, obviously they're disappointed. Their backs were to me, so I really could not see their reaction nor the reaction on the face of Coley McCraney.
He can get life without parole or
was arrested back in 2019 when that DNA implicated.
I think if I was the jury, I'd go with, the death penalty is probably what he deserves, but this is one of those ones that I put in that other category where there is a 1 in a million chance, 1 in a billion, but I would give him the life without parole in this one because it doesn't have, there's, those elements that I always talk about with in the Innocence Project thing. By some miracle down the road, if there's some sort of I don't really know. The thing is you have his DNA, and it seems really obvious, but it's one of those things. It's 1 in a million that he's not guilty, so it's not reasonable doubt. But it isn't one of those ones where there's all these other elements that stack up together. It really comes down to that he has DNA. The problem, his idiocy was that, he had to say something because his DNA was 100% inside of J.B. Beasley. So he had to say that he already knew her, and then it sort of just, whole story didn't work because it didn't match what was going on. So that's pretty good. Really great circumstantial evidence, but it's one of those ones that I would put in the life without parole category because of the 1 in a million chance that somehow the story was true, but it's not. See what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I am on that. But if he got the death penalty, it's not going to bother me. Yeah. So there you go. It's not going to bother me, but that's how I would probably do it better that way. That way there aren't shitloads of appeals over and over and over and over again. And it's just done. Get the hell out of society. Well, let's see. Wow, I have to throw myself in prison right off the start of the show, or let's see. So there we got that. We followed the trial through transcripts, not really transcripts, but like a recap of it that a channel did out there. And that's one that we covered on 3 Minute of Mystery. Apparently we're meeting tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning to record a sort of a follow-up on that. Something like that. Okay? What do you mean? What was I saying that was political just now that is bad? I don't even remember what you're talking about. What was it? You mean about the being triggered to watch true crime? Jesus, you got to be crazy. All right, how about this? Let me try it this way. Let me do a poll so you don't have to. Let's see. So here, how about this? You can answer this one without, nobody knows who you were. You don't have to put a 1 in there. I just want to see if there's really that many people that think that way. I think it's insanity. Why watch if you're that triggered by shit? Hey, thanks, Kathy, for item maker. Because I'm never going to do it. So if you're scared about being accidentally shown something, man, you're going to have a problem here. I'll tell you that. I almost feel like the people that said yes are trolls that are just watching. So we always have about 10% of the people watching are trolls. How do you know, Gray? You're just assuming. Well, I know because you're the one that's saying, how do you know, Gray? Thank you, Danielle. Yeah, so let's see. Out of 94 people, we have 10 people saying, I need a warning. I need a warning, Gray. Well, you might as well unsubscribe because I'm not going to be giving you one. All right, so good luck. Awesome. We're going to hit the end the poll now. Thank you, Tawny Lee. I trust you guys enough to be able to handle it. Okay, so if other people don't trust you, I'm sorry for them and pretending that they really give a shit about giving you a trigger warning. If they're doing it just to get subs, screw it. You know. Yeah, I have one at the very beginning of the show. So, you know, if you didn't listen to it, that's your fault. Okay? But it does play, and it tells you that there is a warning. It's a blanket warning, basically, for the whole show that there might be something. Just might be there. You never know. But you don't have to block the person who said that idiotic comment up there. I'm going to unhide him. Yeah, but they were talking about... I didn't mention politics whatsoever on this show. Do you consider trigger warnings politics? And the fact that people need them and we look weak to the rest of the world, is that politics, or is that just sort of the way it is? I mean, it's not. I'm not talking about any political party or anything. We just look terrible. You know, I mean, just to turn in that statement into that. I don't know. My voice, and it's not really quite there yet. Let's see. Well, how about we play the they're only, I think, well, how about let's play the interview. It was a jailhouse phone call with, I think it was Lori's sister. I think. Is that her sister named Summer? We'll play that one first. That was from yesterday's trial. And, East Idaho News has the better clips of them. You can go check them out. So, I'm not sure what that means. You mean Arvydas Sabonis? Yeah. Yeah, he's great. He's a great player. Didn't spell it that way, but... Yeah, I just have one at the beginning of the show, but it's sort of a sarcastic thing, if you notice. It's not really... yeah, it's sort of... if you triggered by it, then get the hell out of here, basically.
Hey, Sonny. Hi. How are you? Not good. And how are you? Not good.
Thanks, Melissa South.
I don't know what to say. Do you not want to talk? I'm willing to listen if you want to talk to me. I just don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's Lori Daybell, and I think Summer, is her sister, I believe. I didn't know that they had another sister. That's what's odd to me, but very well could be. But it's a family member calling her in prison or jail, and just listening to Lori, just man, it's ridiculous.
Don't let anybody knows. I've been in isolation for 2 weeks, so I don't know anything that's going on. I haven't talked to anyone. Well, they know that they found Tylee buried in a pet cemetery and JJ buried.
So Tylee's buried in a pet cemetery.
On Chad's backyard.
And then JJ buried in Chad's backyard. See, the whole time that this lady's talking is Lori is still thinking she's a hero. That this person, Summer, doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Yeah, so it is his sister. Okay. Her sister. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. There was an evil spirit. So I did a good thing. But I don't think she ever believed that stuff. Because if she really believed it, why did she force evil spirit dumb on people? Right? Like, oh, I don't like this one anymore. Oh, you're an evil spirit. You're now a zombie. And now my protector, Alex, can go take you out.
And we don't understand how that happened or why.
Yeah, hey, Kimberly, what difference does it make? Nothing I said had anything to do with politics, okay? Did you assign our weak country to being a Democrat? Is that what you're telling me? Because you're sort of giving away your hand there. It's almost like you realize yourself. Because I never mentioned anything. I just said we look terrible. Okay? But do you mind if we go over the case that we're going over? Thank you.
And you tell us. And we're devastated. Did you know they were there? Can't talk about it.
Can't talk about
I don't
it.
know what to say, Lori. I mean, you know how much I love you, and Alex is sick to my stomach. I didn't think anything, but you never let anything
I
happen.
mean, just try to picture, like, for those of you that have siblings out there, imagine knowing that your sibling killed their kids. I mean, you know it because they're found on the property and all the other stuff that's been in the news and everything. Man, it's brutal. I mean, I'm trying to picture my brother, you know, but it's like he's, you know, he'd never do that. Well, you know, maybe they thought the same thing, but my brother, you know, he's a normal person. Lori is a whack job, you know, a psycho. But you sort of picture that kind of stuff and you go, God, think how weird. That would make you sound like she, like, be that upset.
And just let him be thrown away like garbage. And I can't take it that you would let this. It's too painful. And you think I let that happen? Yes, I do. That's nice. Is there another explanation? I'm willing to hear it. I don't want to think it. Absolutely, but I can't talk about it. You went off to Hawaii and were dancing on the beach while your kids are in the ground?
She was dancing on the beach while her kids are in the ground.
You had to have known when they were there. You just can't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I want to believe the best in you. I really do. I love you with all my heart. It kills me. But they were just little kids. I don't understand. I don't understand. You know me, Summer. That's what I thought. You still do. Lori, if you let that happen to them and didn't tell us and left me in the ground like a piece of trash, then I don't know you because you would have never done anything like that. That's correct. And if you knew and didn't tell us, that's not okay. We love them. We would have taken them. We would have taken care of them. You could have gone off and done anything you wanted. That's what you think? I don't know what to think. None of us do. You haven't told us anything. We believed you. We stood up for you. I cannot. I would love to. You cut me and Mom off for 4 months and told everyone not to trust us because we'd tell Adam. And now
I remember that.
we find this out and you expect me to just keep going on faith when there's been zero explanation and you expect me to just keep believing without ever having a question? Say that. That is what you're saying. Either explain it or don't expect me to not be upset and doubt you when the kids are on Chad's property. I'm not okay. I love them with all my heart. I would have taken Tylee and JJ in a heartbeat, and everybody else would have too. You know that. If they were in any danger. I have no idea what happened. You're right. Nobody does because you said nothing. Because everybody sees what's on TV. That has nothing to do with TV. This is when you're in my conversations before you left and cut me off. And now you expect me to be there for you and you were going to abandon me. And if you weren't in jail, you wouldn't even be talking to me and we wouldn't even know they were dead still. This is your opinion. Yes! I deserve more than that. I've been there for you like a rock, and I went on TV and defended you. I've done everything to defend you, and I still would right now if you would tell me the truth. I would love to. Well then, love to. You didn't want to in October, November, December, January, or February when you weren't in jail. Why didn't you tell us then? What? You didn't call me when Alex died, which now I'm glad he's gone, if he was a part of this, but you didn't call to tell me Alex died or that your kids are gone? Nothing? You don't think that's going to cause pain throughout our entire family? That's never my intent. Well, you don't think I'm in pain? No, I don't. I think you were dancing on the beach having a great time. Getting married. And you took pictures to prove your kids don't deserve a burial, but you need to get wedding pictures? You don't think that's upsetting? Nobody knows. I'm sorry, honey.
Nobody knows.
Then nobody knows except for you and the Lord. Yeah, ask him. I have. And guess what? I don't have one scripture that says it's okay for children to be thrown away like garbage in the ground. And that's okay. There is nothing in the scriptures that is godly about hurting a child. Nothing. And they deserve a proper burial with family that lost them at the least. I can't support that. That's hurtful to everyone. That's the most selfish, incredibly selfish thing I can think of. I can't think of anything worse.
Thank you, Eugenie.
I don't understand. I don't understand. This is not my Lolo that I've known and loved. I've never even seen you be upset with your kids. I went to bat for you and said that to everyone. I never have been upset with them. I never have been. How can you just go on without them, without any upsetness, and without telling us anything, and then expect us to understand? Nobody knows in the world. Nobody in the world knows what I've been through. And I don't expect you to. All you've seen is what's on TV. No, that's not what he says. And all the influences of all the people around. Okay, so now I'm deceived. No, everyone in the world is deceived except for you. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I'm saying nobody's seen me on the floor crying. Nobody knows what I've been through with my children that I love more than anything. Lori. Mine. You were dancing on a beach with a smile on your face, taking wedding photos. Yeah, months later. You don't trying to go on with life, trying to be happy, trying to find some kind of happiness. You think I want to be alone? Do you think that your mother and your sister and your son don't deserve to know that the children are gone? Why wouldn't you call and tell us that? Why were we cut off? You saying you want to go on and be happy? You're just going to be happy without your family and your life until you're stuck in jail and I'm the only one stupid enough to be your friend when I've been your best supporter, Lori. I've loved you my whole life. I still do. I can't bear to think of anything bad about you. It hurts me. I don't want to see you in jail. I don't want you to be there. I don't want people to misunderstand. If you would tell me the truth, I would stand up for you for the rest of time. You know that I would. I know you would. But there is nothing okay about this. Nothing. I know. If you think it's okay, well, you have greatly been deceived if you think this is okay. Nothing about this is okay, Lori, Summer. We have all read the scriptures. I know you've told me about a lot of your spiritual experiences. You know I've tried to support you in all of them. But I am telling you, because I love you with all my heart, please consider that Chad has lied and been deceived, and that you have been deceived, and that this is not what you think it is. There's nothing okay about killing children. Nothing. And even if you didn't kill them, and Chad didn't kill them, and Alex didn't kill them, you threw them away like garbage in the ground. Charlie's bones are burned. I can't handle
I mean, the video sort of helps her theory because she's going to blame it on Alex, and she could just go, I didn't know anything about it. And she kept saying that part. But her attitude is, just listening to it's just so, nonchalant, doesn't even give a shit.
Hi, Sonny.
Oops, sorry, I think I was over here.
So Terry, you know that's so degrading. How could you let them do that? I don't understand. It's that this is not what you think it is. There's nothing okay about killing children. Nothing. And even if you didn't kill them, and Chad didn't kill them, and Alex didn't kill them, you threw them away like garbage in the ground. Tyler's bones are burned. I can't handle that. And threw her in a pet cemetery. You know that's so degrading. How could you let them do that? I don't understand. It's so painful. I can't even tell you. I don't know what else to say, but please.
Thank you, Shelley Pink.
Please consider that you have been deceived. That is not Christ-like. There's nothing good in that. There's nothing good in that. That's not a test for you. They were innocent. And they were loved. And they didn't deserve to be treated that way. Who loved them their whole life and took care of them their whole life? Then why would you let them be buried that way? I didn't. Well, then come up with an explanation publicly.
And that was it. That's crazy. That's when it was all, the bodies were found, Chad was arrested. That's brutal. But then today in court, I sort of condensed it down. I just did JJ's. The autopsy of Tylee was just kind of like there was, so many parts, things like that. It was hard to narrow it down. But so here's the audio for JJ's portion. I got it down to like 11 minutes. I'm sure it continued on, and there might have been some other interesting elements or whatever, but I got the main parts, I think. That's it.
Garth Warren, I am a forensic pathologist.
Doctor, were you involved in the...
Garth Warren, I am a forensic pathologist.
Doctor, were you involved in the autopsy of Joshua Jackson Vallow?
Yes. On June 11th, 2020. It took approximately 4 hours.
Okay.
I determined the cause of death to be asphyxia by plastic bag over the head and duct tape covering the mouth.
So that just takes this whole thing to a whole nother level of evil. Because now we know that JJ was likely alive and struggling underneath the plastic bag and duct tape mouth, and you sort of wonder if that's where Alex came from. Was he like, oh, these are evil spirits, I'm gonna, whatever it is, it ended up torturing JJ.
And then there's another segment that's other significant conditions. I put bound with duct tape, bruising to the arms, and abrasion to the neck. But ultimately, the cause of death was asphyxia by plastic bag over the head and duct tape over the mouth.
When you commenced your autopsy of J.J. Vallow, can you describe for the jury what you initially observed?
So initially, the body came within a sealed body bag, and it's sealed because we want to preserve evidence. It's just a way of us feeling confident that nobody's gotten into the bag or something's happened. So it's for evidence preservation. So we broke the seal on the bag and opened that bag up, and then the body was further enclosed within a black plastic tarp that was held together with multiple strips of duct tape. And then we opened that up, and that was the first time that you could actually see the body. Right from the beginning, there were some things that obviously jumped out. One, there was a white plastic bag over JJ's head, and it was wrapped around the face multiple times with duct tape all the way down to the neck. In addition, the forearms and the hands were bound with duct tape, and the ankles were bound with duct tape. JJ was wearing red pajama tops, red pajama bottoms, and black socks. Another thing that was quite obvious is the body was in a state of decomposition. There was decomposition fluid and dirt and mold on the pajama tops and bottoms. You could tell even with the clothing on that the body was in a state of decomposition by the color of the skin. At that point, we essentially took photographs, documented how the body was received, and then we proceeded. So for the external examination, I guess backing up a little bit, with everything that was on the body, the clothing, the duct tape, the bag over the head, at that point, we started gathering our evidence. So what we did is we took the pajama tops and bottoms off, and we submitted that to law enforcement. We submitted the socks to law enforcement. The bag over the head with the duct tape, we made a single cut, removed it carefully, and we submitted that to law enforcement. With the duct tape around the arms, we made a single cut, unfolded that carefully, submitted that to law enforcement, and we also submitted the duct tape around the ankles. In addition to that evidence, we also did fingernail swabs for evidence. We did hand swabs. The fingernails actually were easily came off because of the state of decomposition, so we ended up just submitting all of the nails for evidence. In addition to that, we didn't really know what was going on with the case.
Didn't they blame JJ for scratching Chad? And that's how they knew he was a demon at that point.
As far as could there be a sexual component or not, so we did oral, anal, and penile swabs, just to be careful. And then in addition to that, we took pulled head hair, a portion of the rib, and that was actually done during the autopsy, and 2 molars from JJ for DNA purposes. Bone, the ribs, and the molars are a good source of DNA, and we kind of figured that DNA may be important in this case. So that was all the evidence that we got and submitted to law enforcement. And then as far as the external examination goes, like I said before, I do an examination from head to toe. And as I stated before, one thing that was obvious was the body was in a state of decomposition. The head took on a green discoloration, neck. Other parts of the body had a light brown, leathery appearance. That is consistent with decomposition. There's fairly extensive skin slippage throughout the body, including partial degloving or skin falling off of the hands and the feet. And that was essentially what I found. I also found some injuries that jumped out. One injury was a scratch. There were abrasions. It appeared to be scratch-like abrasions on the left side of the neck. That was significant to me in a case like this, considering the way he was found. If there's any kind of injuries to the neck, it's a red flag. Do I know exactly what it means? No, but I think some of the things that come to mind are, was JJ trying to get the bag off his head? and could they be scratch marks trying to get the bag off of his head. I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened, but those are the types of things that go through my head. There are additional injuries, including bruising of both upper arms, symmetrical bruising on the right upper arm and left upper arm. And there's also a diffuse hemorrhage on underlying the right thumbnail. There were also other areas that were concerning or suspicious for injuries that looked like bruising. There were areas on the ankles that looked like bruising that may have been associated with the duct tape. So when I looked at it grossly, they looked like bruises. But in all the injuries I described on the arm, the leg, the ankles, what you do in a case like this where there's significant decomposition is sometimes decomposition can make things look like a bruise when it's not a bruise. So we took incisions on the body in multiple areas that were concerning for bruising. The two areas that did show at least convincing hemorrhage in the subcutaneous tissue underlying the skin were on both upper arms. The bruising on the legs or on the ankles didn't show significant bruising or show bruising in the subcutaneous tissue. So to me that means that it could have been a bruise, but I can't confidently say that it was.
And so, doctor, you when you mentioned the hemorrhaging below the subcutaneous, did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Layer, was that confirmation of bruising on the arms?
Yes.
Okay. And was there anything else notable in your external examination?
I believe those were the most significant findings that I can remember off the top of my head.
Did you find any signs of disease in your external examination?
No.
Okay. And after your external examination, you conducted an internal examination?
That's correct.
Can you describe that process for the jury?
Yes. So as I stated before, we make incisions on the torso. And
really there isn't much more in here, but I think we all heard what like the main elements that you needed to know. Duct tape mouth, head wrapped in plastic. That's how he died, from asphyxiation. And I think that's a way that you do it where there's no marks left on somebody, So I wonder if they thought, well, maybe he'll be found at some point. But I mean, the way you buried somebody in the yard like that, you're not expecting them ever to be found. So there wasn't really a procedural, like, here's a good way to kill somebody and not be caught type of thing. That was purely done as sort of a torture, because you buried them in a yard not expecting them ever to be found. So what was the point of trying? And the way they'd be found would always be considered a homicide. So what was the point of killing them that way? Had nothing to do about leaving marks or anything. It's crazy, man. Now you sort of wonder how they killed Tylee. Nobody really knows. So that was it, you guys. Hey, thanks, Vanessa Dance. I thought the button was broken there for a minute. Thank you. Appreciate it. So
Chewbacca? Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Crying face.
Okay, well, it's the updates on Lori Daybell's case. It's been hard to follow since it's just audio, and the audio is released at like 4:15, and there's no time to go edit and just find little clips that matter. I was able to do that just right there. Took 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes even into the trial to get to that part. So, anyways, all right, let me get to another story. Maybe we'll do the Uber Eats thing. This is crazy shit, Looney Tune stuff here. There's an Uber Eats driver who, in Florida, Pasco County, Florida, went to drop just food off, and they were murdered by a psycho. And I got the Pasco County Sheriff's Office version. Looks like it's pretty equal on both sides. Hey.
Good. All right. Good afternoon. First and foremost, our job is to protect the family right now. The dignity of this case, we want to, or dignity for the family, dignity of the victim, we want to make sure we protect that. I'm not going to get into how gruesome this case was. There's no need to. This will live on for infamy. And this family have to live with this. And so to them, our prayers are with you. As you said, our victim advocates are with you. They will stay with you. Whenever you need them, just call them up. They do an outstanding job. To the detectives, to the forensics unit, the ME, everybody who was involved in this investigation, I want to thank them personally because it was a horrible scene for them out there for several days. It was tough. And for the neighborhood that had to have, with us being out there, I know it was a lot on you too. So I just...
Yeah, so by the way, on the last, the JJ, I was picturing how Larry must have taken that, listening to that. He might have already known that, geez, how horrible.
I just want to get that out there because these are just a gruesome case and this is horrible. And I'll get a little into it further, but it's just one of those things you can never answer the why. And that's what I feel horrible for the family for. So our victim was an Uber Eats and DoorDash driver. I mean, you watch the video, he was a guy just like everybody else, just trying to make a living for his family. And on April 19th at 2:30 p.m., he had dropped his wife off and he started doing his deliveries. His wife and him were communicating via text. At around 6:43, she sent him a text. He responds back and says, yeah, this is basically my last one. I'll be home soon. And he was right around the corner from their house. At 7:13, she sends a message, but there was no response back. So late April 19th into the 20th, she reports him missing. Our patrol goes out. They start doing the investigation. Wasn't a few hours later, they hand it off to the missing persons unit. Our missing persons unit then takes over the case. They actually, later that morning, our missing person unit reached out to Uber Eats, and they were able to provide us some information and his last known GPS coordinates. We post this information on our social media, hospitals, fire rescue, FHP, databases. We kept reaching out to find out, could he just been missing? Did something happen? That was he in a crash? So we're just trying to figure those things out. The GPS showed that he had gone, his last known location was 3438 Moog Road, which is down Holiday. Detectives went to the house, walked around it. There was nothing really suspicious on out there. Nobody answered the door. The location was 3438 Moog Road.
Okay, I already had Moog Road. I knew that he mentioned it because I listened to it. Let me go to that. So there's Moog Road right here. And now let me hear that one more time. I think you said 3438 maybe.
Hospitals, fire rescue, FHP, databases. We kept reaching out to find out, could he just been missing? Did something happen? That was he in a crash? So we're just trying to figure those things out. The GPS showed that he had gone, his last known location was 3438 Moog Road, which is down Holiday. Detectives went to the house, walked around it. There was nothing really suspicious on out there. Nobody answered the door. And so there's actually a body of water across the street. They looked over there to see if maybe something happened. There was no evidence of anything going on. But we kept following up on leads. On April 21st, we actually go back to the house at 3438 Moog Road. At that time, we were able to make contact with the roommate of the suspect. The roommate was able to provide us video, and you can actually see the victim walking up to the house to deliver food, but the video cuts off at that point. You can also see that that was around 6:45 when the video cuts off, or 6:55, right there when he was walking up to that house. You actually see on the video that the following day, so that was the 19th when he delivered the food. You actually see on the following day, on the 20th, the suspect, Oscar Solis, was carrying trash bags with another individual, and you can see them carrying these trash bags around the side of the house. So our detectives did the right thing. They asked for permission to go through the trash bags, to go into trash bags. There was several of them. And unfortunately, what we found inside of some of those trash bags was human remains. So at that,
I mean, just think about that for a second. I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. He just goes over to deliver food, and somehow the camera was turned off just as you got there, and then he disappeared, and then his body's been dismembered, put into bags and trash cans. I mean, unbelievable, right? And that image that we're looking at, guess what? This street view here is from January this year. January 2023. So, that, I mean, he was probably living there maybe at this time. He might have moved in there more recently, but, man, even got an ADT alarm system.
At that point, we held the scene as a crime scene. We were waiting for Emmy, the medical examiner, to come out. Forensics came out. But we were also able to make an arrest on Oscar Solis. He was arrested at that point for failure to register in Pasco County as a felon and violation of parole. He had been in parole.
What's weird is he doesn't look like a felon at all. Oh, wait, maybe he does. Sorry.
In Indiana, he had just moved down to Florida back in January. And so you'll hear his background is a very violent individual. But we were able to make an arrest for those charges immediately. And so we knew at that point there was no public threat out there as to what happened. But for us, and this is what takes so long. And I wish we were like those TV shows where we can solve everything in an hour. We can't. Our job at that point, first and foremost, is to make sure that there's no more public threat. We took care of that. Our second issue at that point was we had to identify the victim, and so the following day we were able to do that. But the other part too is we have to build a case. Because I know for many people, everybody wants things done immediately. I just want a solution. I want this done absolutely like within seconds, because we're used to that with Google. But the problem is it doesn't work that way in the real world with cases. And if we as a sheriff's office don't do everything we can from a forensic standpoint, from an investigative standpoint, hand it off to the state attorney's office, and they're not able to bring justice to the family, then we failed through the pipeline. So we can't fail. We have to do everything. And if it may be slow, it's slow, but it's going to be done right. And so that's the one thing we just want to make sure everybody understands out there is that we couldn't give those updates because we did not want to hinder the investigation.
So he just kind of like grabbed him to rob him of money or something. I don't know what the hell was going on. I mean, it sucks too because his wife tried to get a hold of him. It's just a terrible story. You know, after we were able to identify the victim and notify the family and have victim advocates out there, you know, we were kept through the process. And then last evening, on April 24th, we arrested Oscar Solis for felony murder in conjunction with a robbery because we were able to find the victim's wedding ring and car keys in another room in the house outside from where we believe the homicide occurred. And so, a couple of things real quick. Talk about Oscar Solis. This guy's he's affiliated with MS-13 from Indiana. Like I said, he just came down here from Indiana like a month or two ago, 2 months or 3 months ago in January. His charges before, he had been battery, burglary, possession of stolen auto parts, drugs, resisting law enforcement, other burglary charges, home detention placement, burglary, battery on detention staff. He supposedly stabbed somebody several times while he was in prison in Indiana. So you're talking about a very violent individual that Indiana released and sent down to Florida. He came down to Florida. They released him on parole. And so unfortunately, now we have a hardworking guy, a loving husband, who's no longer with us because this violent individual killed him. Our call for action we're asking right now is that there are several pictures. These individuals, and I'll tell you, if you're one of those individuals or you're the parent or guardian of one of these kids, it looks like they're young adults, they're not in trouble. We just need to know who they are. Can they come forward information? They were actually in the house about an hour before the homicide occurred. Right in those bushes.
So if anybody has any information, please come forward. As I said, you're not in trouble.
See, like, here's one of the pictures. That's the bush that we were just looking at. These are the doors. So this camera showed the Uber Eats guy get there. And then there's another, well, there was another picture. I don't see it here. Yeah, there's another picture of like a girl there. Hold on, I'll get it in a second.
We just need to keep building this case because we in Florida will bring justice for this family. We'll ensure, through the state attorney's office that, the family realizes that we did everything we can because this victim, I go back to, it's sad. It's horrible. And the one thing, us as a command staff, we get these updates on the homicides, we get information. And as I started the press conference, and I'll tell you this, I kept asking, what's the connection? Because unfortunately, a lot of times in homicides, there's a connection there. Sadly, we know domestic violence is horrible. We know that, there's drug addiction, drug dealers that will shoot each other over drugs and, beefs over gang or other issues or business partners that are mad at each other. There's something that you can say, okay.
No, the first picture was just somebody that lives there. They're like two young people. I showed you a picture a second ago of the victim on the screen.
There was passion, there was anger. This was absolutely a horrific crime of passion. This person, you always say the word evil, but this is demonic. This individual what he did.
That's the victim.
Was
right
demonic. Here. But at the same time,
that's the killer.
We couldn't answer the question why. What the relationship? There doesn't appear to be any relationship. All it appears is that there was a gentleman who was working, was doing his last delivery of the night, and this person killed him for no reason. And he took him away from his family. So please, if there's anybody out there, any other information, please provide it to us, get it to us. We're building up this case, we're working with the state attorney's office, but we're going to ensure that in Florida there will be justice. So with that being said, any questions?
Those kids, do the roommate know who they are at all?
I'm not sure. I'll let one of the detectives, if you guys know if they.
Name's Roger Middleton, Middleton. I'm a detective in the Major Crimes Unit. The roommate does not know any of the children, but says there's several children that come in and out of the home often.
Do you expect, are you concerned that those children are alive or not?
There's no indication anything other than they just were visiting the home.
And the guy, he just moved here, so does he have any family here, the suspect at all?
Indiana's really to blame.
His father lives locally, and we've been in contact with him.
Were he the suspect and the homeowner the only two that lived in that home, or did they rent, or who would those kids be visiting?
It's unclear. That's why we're wanting to locate them and speak with them.
But is the homeowner, is he the homeowner, or are they both renters?
The home is rental.
So, are there any potential charges against the roommate or any other individual who may have known anything or participated in this?
Well, that's we're going to keep building the case, but this is period anything. And the detectives found out that anybody knew anything. Even the other individual who was taking the trash bags out, just somebody who the father had sent over to help him. The father had somebody that would go over to drive him places, would take him places. So that was a person, just somebody was like, hey, I'll help you move the trash. The roommate actually made a comment to the detective saying, I was surprised the guy actually took trash out. Like, guy finally did something. The other information is that the suspect may be a gamer. So maybe that's why these other kids are over there. They're hanging out at the video games, not sure. But these are other things. This is why we need to figure out some of the information. He is 30 years of age.
And you don't know how old these kids are doing over there.
They could be 18, they could be adults, they could be minor. That's what we don't know.
Is there any relationship between the two roommates as to why this guy comes from Indiana and ends up in that house?
So the house is leased to the roommate and this gentleman's father. And when he came down from Indiana, his father moved out and allowed Oscar to move in.
And the roommate, he wasn't home at the time of the video. Did he say where he was at? Or?
He was not home, and it was corroborated.
Are you guys aware of any MS-13 activity that this man was affiliated with other members of MS-13 in the area?
I don't think. Nothing? No.
And with him not having registered himself as a felon, what are the procedures in place to catch people that aren't registering themselves when they move states?
So that you can register with the Department of Corrections in the state of Florida, but you also have to register as a felon within the county. So he was not registered in the county as a felon.
Correct, but what's the policy in place to, follow up that people are adhering to the law in that regard?
So it's a difficult thing. People, I mean, we're a big state, we're a large state. People they can register with DOC, but we don't know if they're in the county. So it's a very difficult task, and it's one of those things that it could be.
Yeah, you read it on Facebook. How about this? How about you just quit talking about it, Slapstick? Your name sort of kind of gives away what you're all about. So let's not do the, it's got a, I'm not even going to repeat what you said, okay? Forget it.
Through a traffic stop, it could be through, an arrest like this, interaction like this, that's when we find out that they didn't register.
Like a crime has to be committed before unless he's registered.
Or an interaction. He could have went missing. And when we found him, we looked him up and said, he failed to register in Florida.
What's it been like working with Uber Eats and different delivery companies like this? We've seen a lot of violent incidents happening to delivery drivers, and how are those relationships?
So when the sergeant was able to notify his liaison with Uber Eats, they were very quick to give us the information. I'd say it could have been Uber Eats, it could have been DoorDash, it could have been any delivery. I don't think this guy cared. This guy is supposedly, from the information I got, I said a lot of this information is so preliminary. The father ordered food for the son. He could have ordered anybody.
The father had no idea what his son was planning. He's not involved in that.
I feel bad for the dad. I mean, it seemed like indications that the dad was just, he had a son that he was basically helping throughout the way. And the information is he just ordered food. And so that could have been, I don't want to go through every company because then they'll get all upset, but it could have been any company out there that it could have been delivery for. And that would have been...
So the order was just food for his son.
Person, but that's what I said. This is just a random person. It could have been anybody. It could have been a member of religious faith that was knocking on doors. And this person just yanked them in and killed them.
Sheriff, you mentioned that you didn't want to go into the graphic details of this, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But how could the roommate not know that something had occurred if it was that bad inside?
Thanks, Lane Dude.
I don't know how much want to speak on it, still ongoing, but he wasn't home at the time, and when he came home, it was night, and then the detectives were out the next day, and he had actually been with his family away from the home until we made contact with him.
How's the victim's family doing right now?
I know our victim advocate has been working with them. I don't know exactly. I can only imagine. I can't imagine. But I can't imagine what they're going through. The heartache, the heartbreak, the fact that, she's texting him, she's nervous. And honestly, you're talking about caring. I mean, she kept texting him, and then she notified immediately, hey, what's going on? Where's the, I mean, she did everything she could. Evil just came. I mean, this person was just demonic in what he did. And you feel horrible for that wife. And just pray for him.
Most of these delivery services, ring the doorbell and leave it at the door. Is there any indication as to why there was an interaction between the two, and did he forcibly bring them into the home?
So the camera shuts off. So that's the sad part, is that when you watch the video and the detectives, it says part of the investigation, but when you watch that video, he's literally standing there just waiting, and he probably was thinking to himself, am I at the right house? Because nobody was answering. But then the camera goes off. And we don't have the video of him getting...
Oh, so the guy who was waiting and waiting, the guy was looking for his camera to turn off, the recorder.
Taken inside.
Why does the camera go off?
It's part of the investigation. I mean, we all have common sense. We can all believe and
no, it didn't just shut
have
off.
Our understanding, but
until it's shut off. He turned it off intentionally. That's why he was standing at the door. I mean, just think through it. He's standing at the door. He just said how it was. He was just standing there waiting, thought maybe he was at the wrong house. That's because when he got there, this absolute monster went over and was looking for how to turn off the recording. And then then he goes and opens the door and he does what he does.
100%. This is exactly why. Look, you all can say those things because in court it doesn't matter, but if I say something, that could be brought up and I can't say it.
Did the detective find any blood in the house at all?
Well, yeah. He killed him intentionally. That's probably why he even ordered him over there.
There was a substantial amount of evidence inside, but it's still being wrapped up and completed.
Speaking of evidence, when you guys said you went out there, one of the times you also looked at a body of water, like a pond or something. Did you find anything in there?
They were out the day prior on the 20th just to look as far as the missing person investigation, just based on the GPS location of the victim.
For sure, but did you find anything in
No.
the water? You did not find it.
Not that day, the 20th.
There's also like, I guess, rumors that possibly a part of like gang initiation.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were talking about.
There's nothing evidence that would lead to that, but the question about the body of water, I'll go back to that. So basically what they were looking for was tire marks, something that would have shown that somebody entered the water. A lot of times with missing persons calls, we have to, anytime there's a body of water, you constantly are looking, whether it's a person with dementia, a child, somebody suicidal, you always are looking around if there are any signs. So until there's actually evidence to say, okay, further, then we really send people in that water to start searching. But there was zero evidence of anything that somebody was in.
The victim's car, was it there at the property?
Who?
The victim's car?
The victim's
The victim's car, yeah. Was it?
It was located abandoned just like a third of a mile away from the home.
Is it ever too soon for you to call the sheriff's office with concerns of someone missing?
No, I mean, that's one thing. I can imagine, because at police shows, everybody thinks that our biggest calls for service are, robberies, homicides, all these. A lot of our calls for service are missing people. That's the majority. That's why we consistently post them out there. And so we tell people, hey, look, we're going to do everything we can because we know that somebody's loved one. Why do we have one of the largest canine units? It's because our dogs are consistently out there searching for missing people. Our bloodhounds, our live-fire dogs, our cadaver dogs, we're consistently out there looking. And so that's one of the biggest calls that I know we as a sheriff's office, that's one of our larger calls. I can imagine for all law enforcement, it's people go missing. And so how do you find them? What do we do? So that's why we take it extremely seriously. But as I go back to that point, it's never too early.
Not really.
From our standpoint as investigations, we will say, hey, look, these are the steps we usually take.
In like 4 minutes.
Whether somebody ran away, whether it's an adult, what we can and can't do. But at the same time, is we know that's somebody's loved one. And so when it being somebody's loved one, it could be one of our loved ones. And so we take it extremely seriously, but we have our procedures in place, we have our plans in place. And so it could be that kid that ran away 100 times, or it could be that person that went missing the first time.
He parked right in front of the house. The killer drove his car and put it somewhere.
We take them all very seriously.
You mentioned that the keys were found inside the house, the keys to the car.
Right.
The keys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the keys. I'm sorry, the keys to the car. I knew his ring was, but I knew the keys were, yes.
But yet the car was found a third of a mile or so away. Do we know who may have moved that car? Do we suspect that it could be?
Still reviewing, still under investigation. To say the neighbors have any surveillance cameras, but I probably imagine we went to every neighbor about 12 times already. But you have anything, let us know.
Do you expect to release the name of the victim anytime soon?
No, ma'am. The family can, but we won't.
Was the victim Hispanic as well?
We're not going to release that information.
How cooperative?
Thanks, Kimberly Ann. We could use a wave right now, everybody. Another one of those struggling nights. Thank you very much.
So as of right now, they're being very cooperative. Everybody that we spoke to has sat down and spoke with us and helped out.
Any other questions?
His gang affiliation, does that date back to his time in
Indiana, yeah. He wasn't in Florida that long.
When he was on parole in Indiana, how does that work with working with those entities at this point?
With Indiana, so our Department of Corrections will work with their Department of Corrections. Yep.
So this is
He's not.
a story that we found around delivery drivers. Do you have any tips for people who maybe are delivery drivers to keep them safe?
So tips for delivery drivers, I would say, it's like anybody who's out there. If you're knocking on a stranger's door, and I get, this is the same thing also where people, they go online and they buy stuff from each other and they meet up. For people who are buying stuff and meeting up at places, I'd say always meet well-lit place, a gas station, the middle of a gas station, meet there because there's cameras, there's people out there. If you're a delivery driver, if you don't feel comfortable, don't go. We have body-worn cameras in law enforcement to protect ourselves and protect other people. If that's something you want to do is videotape everything going on. If you want to be on the phone with somebody while you're going up to that house, do that. There's nothing that stops you. You're in a public place. You can do what you want. But that's what I say, and that's the thing. It's not about the victims here. It's not blaming them, and I don't think you are, and I don't think anybody is.
Thanks, Renee.
But the issue is we just got horrible people out there. And so always remember that. There's just horrible people in this world. There's just people that are just hell-bent to do evil. And so
Evil can never be dead
he's
enough.
not. So, that being said,
Evil
I appreciate it by
can never
now.
be dead enough.
Those individuals can come forward. If the family knows them, please come forward. We want to get some more information because we have to bring justice for this family. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
What was that other? What's the new one that we got?
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said?
That's right. That's the new one. Grits for Brains.
Let's make it a tidal wave.
Thank you, Renee H., Traveling Teresa, Ashy Snow, and Kimberly Ann. Not quite a tidal wave there, but at least it was something. That's crazy. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. It's kind of a simple, ridiculous story. You know, a guy from a gang moves from Indiana, and Indiana had him under a violent criminal, and they let him go, and he moved down here, and then he's staying at this house, and then orders some kind of a Uber Eats, and this father and a husband, working, he's 59 years old doing Uber, so he's probably trying to make extra money for something, right? Maybe pay for kids' college. Who the hell knows, right? And he goes there and sort of stands around at the door waiting. And then after a while, the camera goes off because the killer inside turned it off so that he could then, as he opened the door, snatch him. And he just killed him and stole his shit and then cut him up into bits, put him into a garbage can. I mean, isn't that just ridiculous? Wow. It's crazy. Thanks, Great Karn, for you. Wow. I mean, I want to know. I don't know. I mean, it's not really a complicated case, it doesn't sound like. It's a psycho. All right, let's take a look at the other one. The escaped inmates. Let's see. I mean, I do have to talk about it. So the thing is like today I did a 9-hour show on YouTube, right? And I'm not really sure. I'm trying to figure out how to make it worth, it's like the super chats on the 9-hour show was equal to what I normally get when I do this show, but even less than that, right? So when I do that show, I'm thinking, okay, if I do that show and then do my night show, it'd be cool if the night show did just the same, and that way it would, even though it's ridiculously worse in terms of per hour. But lately, after I do the Letitia show, and let's say that does okay, I do the night show, and the night show's equally crappy. So I'm trying to figure out... I was kind of hoping, I mean, that's a lot of hours for me to do. That's 12 hours of live streaming each day for minimum wage. It's not good, okay? I'm not sure I can do that. I might have to rethink this whole thing. I'm not sure. Thanks, Maxine. Appreciate it. But somehow, when I do the regular show, now, after the whole day of streaming, it's totally different in here. Does anybody have... well, I don't think you have... There's no rational explanation for it. All right, now we've got these 4 escaped inmates from Mississippi here. Thanks, Maxine Van Dyke. I mean, this is the thing is, last night's show and tonight's show already still isn't in a notebook category for just one night. So that shows you the difference. So anyways, a man who escaped from Mississippi jail over the weekend. I think this is the same one. Hold on. A man who escaped from Mississippi jail over the weekend and is suspect in the slaying of a pastor while on the lam is believed to have been killed Wednesday in a shootout with police after barricading himself. Is that a different story? God, that can't be the same. I don't know if it's Mississippi. Let me make sure. Hold on a second. Because I thought that was the same story, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Let me just open this one. Mississippi escaped inmate spotted at Houston. So that's one of them. There's 4 though. See, right there. Oh, that's a Missouri one. So this is a different inmate. Okay, let's check out this guy here then. One of 4 prisoners who escaped, so he is one of the 4, over the weekend from Mississippi jail was spotted Wednesday morning at a Houston area gas station, authorities said. An image from surveillance footage showed footage shared by Hinds County Sheriff Tyree Jones in Mississippi shows 51-year-old Jerry Raines in a service station in Spring Valley, Texas. About 10 miles west of Houston. Jones said a stolen Hinds County maintenance truck was also recovered. It was not clear whether Raines traveled to Texas alone. The sightings came hours after one of the other escaped inmates, 22-year-old Dylan Arrington, is believed to have been killed after barricading himself in a home and setting it on fire during an armed standoff with deputies. Wow, so he killed himself in that house right there. It's this guy right here. Jesus. Yeah, but see, that creates a problem, Rebecca. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Can't do that. He is suspected of killing Pastor Anthony Watts, 61, of Simpson County, and stealing his red pickup truck. So after these guys escaped, somehow some of them were able to get guns, and they started, killing people. It's ridiculous. I mean, why not just go out and try to hide at least? Raines and Arrington were among 2 other men who broke out over the weekend from the Raymond Detention Center in Raymond, Mississippi. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, they showed that one on the news, that picture right there. Is there a... Oh, there's... Yeah, right? Well, yeah, it goes right there. So there's the detention center. The 2 other men were Casey Grayson and Corey Harrison. The 4 men had been incarcerated for a range of felony charges, most involving theft. Raines has a previous history of escape and multiple individuals, some who were recently brought into Raymond Detention Center, have ties to the area. A search remains underway. Let's see, escaped inmates. All right, Mississippi escaped inmates spotted at Houston area gas station. So it's this one. I think we just did this one, right? Yeah. Escaped inmate from Mississippi abandons getaway vehicle in Houston area.
Over the weekend, 4 men escaped from a prison in Raymond, Mississippi, nearly 400 miles away. But one of the trucks used as a getaway car was found abandoned in Spring Valley. ABC 13's Brianna Connor is getting new details on this developing situation.
And Brianna, what is the latest tonight?
Well, late tonight, we did learn that one of the 4 men who escaped from jail in Mississippi is now suspected in a murder in Jackson. Spring Valley police say there's no evidence there are any fugitives still here, but they also couldn't provide us with any evidence that they aren't.
We are very actively and aggressively looking for these individuals, and we hope to get them back into custody.
The only update from law enforcement about Sunday morning's jailbreak came Monday in Mississippi. The Hinds County Sheriff said 4 men escaped through the roof of their jail. He thinks 3 are still somewhere in Mississippi. However,
we believe at least one of the individuals did travel to Texas. At this time, we do not have any ties or any links with any of the detainees to the Texas area, so of course, we don't know exactly which one of the detainees it is.
whoever it was abandoned a stolen Hinds County truck under I-10 on Campbell Road. That prompted Spring Valley police to get in touch with authorities in Mississippi, who alerted them to the escaped inmates. Dylan Arrington, Corey Harrison, Casey Grayson, and Jerry Raines were all charged with nonviolent crimes. But now Arrington is suspected of murder in Mississippi. Spring Valley police say there's no cause for concern here, but the Hinds County Sheriff describes the situation as a threat to public safety.
And it is concerning for not only the residents in the nearby area, but of course, as you all see throughout the state, and it can bleed into other states as well.
Investigators in Spring Valley now plan to work with local business owners to review surveillance video of the area that may show which inmate was here and where they went. In Spring Valley, I'm Brianna Connor, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
We're actively and aggressively looking for these individuals, and we hope to get them back into custody. Jones provided an update on Monday in Mississippi. He said 4 men escaped through the roof of their jail. Man, I mean, don't they make these places just, you know, like you can't get out, there's no chance? God, it's ridiculous. Whoever it was abandoned a stolen Hinds County truck under the Katy Freeway on Campbell Road. This prompted Springs Valley Village Police to contact Mississippi authorities. Dylan Arrington is suspected of murder and was charged with auto theft and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Corey Harrison was charged with receiving a stolen property. Casey Grayson was charged with grand larceny. Man, they just made it so much worse for themselves. I wonder if they can all be charged with felony murder now, since they're all part of the same escape. And now this guy killed somebody. One of them did. Now all 4 will face additional charges connected with the escape. Spring Valley Village Police said there was no cause for concern, but Jones described the situation as a threat to public safety. It is concerning not only to residents in the nearby area, but of course, as you all see, throughout the state. It can bleed into other states as well, he said. Right. I think that's the one we were looking at. Look at the presence of police in there. Wow. 2 inmates were found at an IHOP in Virginia after escaping by digging a hole with tools made from a toothbrush and a metal object. Jeez. It's like the movie Escape from Alcatraz. Let's see. Well, I was thinking of going over the Katie Markham case, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to call it a short night here. Those are interesting stuff that we already went over, and I've done 9. We're at 10 hours and 30 minutes. All right. So let's see. What do you got here? Can you just escape from a jail and behave? Yeah, you'd think they should be able to. Like escape and just blend in. Instead, they're killing and on rampages. It's crazy. I was going to go over this Markham one, but it's not. I can't justify just hanging out for hours and hours and hours and hours. But anyways, I appreciate you guys all being on different shows today and supporting the channel best you can. Not sure what's going on these last couple days, but it's not working. Yeah, well, I have other jobs too, Quinn. Yeah, I spend like the whole day trying to get ready for, it's just, I'm doing that show, and then I'm over here getting ready for this show, and I've got other work to do, and I don't know. It's getting frustrating. So thank you to Dobby Smith, Your Gypsy, Kathy Friedenmaker, Danielle, Tawny Lee, Ben Hills, Melissa South, Eugenie, Shirley Pink, Vanessa Dance, Lane Dune, Kimberly Ann, Ashley Snow, Traveling Teresa, Renee H, Great Carn for You, and Maxine Van Dyke. All right? So thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grayl's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Good night, everybody, and be safe out there.